Hello and welcome to Sports This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe.
Glad to have you join us to talk sports. I'm Austin Okonakpan. Sports This Morning is back again. Let's begin this way right here in Nigeria. Drama right after the league management company. Cecilia, was it PPG or WPPG? But Rivers United says they're not accepting it, and so they're going to challenge it.
Of course, they're writing to CAF, they're writing to FIFA, and everybody involved in football. That's what they want to do. So there is no peace yet in the Nigerian Professional Football League, talking about the team that will represent Nigeria at the continent.
That's right.
Okay, also on the program, we'll talk about Europa League. It's tonight, and Manchester United will be thinking of how to get into the semi-finals. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been talking to praising Anthony Martial that gave them that winning goal against Lask, and tonight they will be facing Copenhagen. And of course, for them, all they have to do is to get a win and get into Europa League semi-finals. And he says if he wins it, it will be the biggest for him in his career.
We'll see. Let's see what they can do when the Europa League returns tonight. Also on the show this morning, we'll play some golf. And look at that guy right there on your screen. American Colin Morikawa emerged from a stacked leaderboard to win the 2020 USPGA Championship after a flawless round in San Francisco. No one saw him coming, Cecilia.
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it because when you have Bruce Koepka in the mix, you also have Justin Johnson in the mix. Also, Scotty Scheffler was also in the mix. And you're asking us, so that was going into the final round, and these guys were overnight leader. And the guy, we're not even looking at Morikawa, but somehow he's the one that got the trophy this morning. That's where we're starting the show with.
That's where we will get off
golf.
from. What a story. Debut PGA Championship for him. He's just 23, and he held off Paul Casey. When Paul Casey was looking for this title, this dude was about 14 years old.
Oh, was he 14?
Or younger,
No,
but he went on to produce a remarkable, and that's golf for you. Everyone might be doing so well first 2 days. On the final round, someone just comes up, put up a breathtaking performance, and that's it.
That's where it is. I mean, this guy, he won that PGA Championship, and everyone was thinking it's actually his first major title. And while we were looking at the other players, as you mentioned, Tiger Woods entered the mix quite well. He started well. Rory McIlroy started well. But someone, the second round, the third round, this guy's faded. And, of course, you have someone, an American, who had to get it, Colin. And this is his first major. And he shot a 6 under par 64 to reach 13 under on the week, and 2 strokes better overnight than the leader. The guy that was leading, Dustin Johnson, was the one who was leading at 68. You also have Paul Casey, a 66, you mentioned him earlier. Yeah. But then this guy was breathtaking. He just held on, holding the nerves, and of course finished ahead of these 5 golfers that you were thinking they are veteran, are the ones that would take it. But somehow it wasn't to be on the night.
That's what it is. So Morikawa stole the show right there in San Francisco. Final day, he did the magic, and so debut championship for him. And of course, this will push him to do more. We're expecting the regular guys that were dominant in the first 2 days to go on to do the magic. And then he came from nowhere, chipped in for a birdie on the par 4 14th to become the first man to reach 11 under. And despite being joined by Casey, he hit the shot of the week from the 16th tee.
That's what you do when you want to be a winner. Yeah. And you just have to hold your nerves, not just looking at those guys. Because we were talking about Paul Casey. I mean, he's actually 20 years the senior of Morikawa. Just look at it. And he's looking at how that guy's been on the course for a very long time.
I got that stat I wanted to tell you about. Morikawa was 4 years old when Paul Casey claimed his first European Tour win in 2001.
And since
Don't you love our world of sport?
It's interesting to note, especially joining, you mentioned one particular record, but the joint lowest round of the week. I mean, he's the 4th player to actually achieve that record that you mentioned earlier. Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Rory McIlroy are the ones to be able to do that at the age of 23.
Awesome. Beautiful. Let's go listen to this guy. That's what it is. It comes with the excitement. Well, congratulations to Colin Morikawa. He will be relishing the moments. Let's go get some talking points from that victory. So that's it, Tiger Woods and Cecilia. Cecilia made a light jest of Tiger Woods. I didn't get to the final round. But I'm glad he's playing golf. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
it's just
motto
how
right
to
there.
play, and okay,
Yeah.
it's okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's just that. But then you wanted us to talk about the defending champions,
Yeah,
Bruce
Bruce
Koepka,
Koepka,
bidding
yeah.
for historic, third consecutive PGA championship. But it just
Didn't
wasn't to
happen.
be.
Yeah.
I mean, he stumbled and stumbled to 7-4 to finish 10 shots behind the champion.
Yeah, 4 over 7-4 to also finish on 3 under. But shout out to Paul Casey. We were commending him. And if he keeps it going, he might just get that title that he's looking for. He didn't see it coming, but he said he loves the way he played. He doesn't have any regret that he won't do anything differently. It was just going to be the night for Colin Morikawa, and that was what happened for him. So shout out to all the golfers. Shout out to Morikawa for pulling up that fantastic win. We love it so much. Tells us that golf is back, and we're right here to talk about it. From one, so that's a sensational victory to another. Let's go to Silverstone. We're celebrating the anniversary of our Formula, is it 70?
70th, yeah, Silverstone.
Yeah, at Silverstone. And then what a performance by Verstappen, Cecilia.
Yeah, it was incredible, you know. And of course, when you're looking at it, you're like, okay, Lewis Hamilton, especially what he did the last time. But then it just wasn't to be because Max Verstappen wasn't going to take it was going to take advantage of whatever mistake the Mercedes were going to make. So he was just right there, ready to take advantage of any mistake they will make. And of course, Valtteri Bottas started on pole. Of course, Hamilton was second. Now you have Max Verstappen, but at the end of the day, who won it happens to be Red Bull's Max Verstappen. So, I mean, it was really close, you know, the challenge and all that, especially at the time he overtook Lewis Hamilton, and you were thinking, what's going to happen? Will Hamilton, after he pitted, will he be able to get back into it? But it just wasn't to be, because just have someone who was able to hold on and get into the checkered flag.
When Bottas got on pole, I was like, yes. I told Cecilia last week that he's a fantastic driver. He will come. I'll come back today and say, did I not tell you? And he's going to win. He didn't do it. But shout out to Verstappen. He did it, Cecilia, on soft tires. And according to him, he said he was just monitoring, watching the Mercedes drivers and looking for the right time to just do the magic. And he went on to do it. We've been talking about Max Verstappen, and I think he has what it takes to make the top drivers to sit up, not to be complacent. Not just Verstappen, even Charles Leclerc. Look at where he started the race and he finished fourth. He was also fantastic at the first race at the British Grand Prix. Tells you that these young guys, they're not respecting nobody. All of them, they're coming out to compete.
I think it's becoming more exciting because sometimes I remember last season, me and Tayo were talking about how boring Formula One is becoming, just having, anytime you have Lewis Hamilton on pole, you know that he was going to win. So at the end of the day, you have someone who was able to challenge that at the 70th anniversary. So this is really remarkable for Max Verstappen. And the thing is, Bottas had to drop to third overall on 700 points. So when you have Red Bull, Max Verstappen 77, Lewis Hamilton, of course, 107, still at the very top of the championship.
That's it. That's the champ right there. And if he's not winning, he's ensuring he's on the podium. And if he does that from now to the end of the season, he's likely to win the championship. So that's the strategy right there. But then I still want Bottas to do some more with that Mercedes car. I want the engineers to also sit back because there was also another tire issue. You know, and this, remember I told you last week that if they don't fix it, other drivers will look at it. Not just Charles Leclerc, Red Bull's Albon was also close. He had a good race, and I love it. I love the fact that it's getting competitive. They're looking at it and saying, look, it shouldn't just be Hamilton, Bottas, or Sebastian Vettel. These other guys are willing to
talking about Sebastian Vettel,
race,
I'm trying to think of what's happening to Sebastian Vettel these days, because you see him starting the race. At a point, he actually went off the grid and everything. Then he came back again. And then at the end of the day, I think he finished 12th, or his position was not really what you expect of him. Just knowing that you have two of them, I mean, you're having someone like Charles Leclerc, no matter what happens, he's trying as much as possible to be in the top 5 or top 6. Well, you've been looking for...
you expect Vettel to be doing
same. Of course, same thing, but you're not seeing that.
He finished 12th, and I think there's just something wrong. I think he's not focused.
Because of his contract or something?
Maybe. All these
Yes,
things
because
happen.
he's leaving and he doesn't know the team is going to join.
There you go. And whenever he sits down, you guys in the media, you're not talking about race day, you're asking him about his future. So
of course, you want to know where he is.
I think Vettel is distracted because that's a champ anytime, any day. And when he wants to handle a car, he does it so well. So
but he's not handling it right now.
Yeah, it's not happening. So before we listen to the drivers, major talking point again was the drivers coming together to fight racial injustice. Last week we said it was fantastic because it was organized.
Yeah.
They planned it properly. They went on the knees. The ones that couldn't take the knee were at the back, standing in solidarity. And I love it so much. And one man, Lewis Hamilton, is pushing this. He's taking it really personal, Cecilia.
Of course. I mean, he's the only black driver you have in Formula One, ironically. But then, since that's who he is, he just had to keep pushing it to see other people also coming to join. As you mentioned, I love what they did at the beginning. They had to take time out to do that. And it was uniform this time around, just like last week, what they did.
I love it.
Okay, let's listen to the drivers, the winners on the day and their celebrations.
That's it. We always look forward to the celebration. I'm sure you do also. I remember one time I was in Nico Rosberg. He said Hamilton didn't like that he won. I was really harsh with the celebration, the way he splashed the champagne on him. So I always look forward to that sort of. So particularly when an engineer does so well, and then the drivers gang up, try to celebrate, they put everything out there.
My favorite is the shoe celebration. That's why I'm missing Daniel Ricciardo. I can't wait for him to start winning again.
Yeah,
just want to see that.
Another decent driver. Talking about decent drivers for the next generation of F1 drivers, driver of the day, it was a tie between Max Verstappen and
Charles Leclerc, the two young stars.
Look at that, a tie, because if you look at where Leclerc particularly started that race, and you haven't an uninspiring Sebastian Vettel as your teammate, and you're still pushing. He did it last week at the British Grand Prix, and then he did it again. So just imagine if he had a better qualifying result, he probably was going to make it to the podium,
Absolutely.
you know. And they said each of them were outstanding in their way, the two emerging as the defining talents of the new generation behind Hamilton. So when Hamilton leaves now,
you have these two guys to watch out for.
We'll even put Ricciardo into that.
No, Daniel Ricciardo is old. It's just he's supposed to be in the class. He has a class of his own. By the end of the day, he's changing team. He doesn't really know what to do right now. I think that's his problem. So you need to sort that out, get a good team and start winning again because he's a good driver. Let's leave that Formula One and talk about the NBA, starting with some teams. Well, you know, it's just the seeding games and all that, and some people are saying it's really not quite interesting. But then watching Portland Trail Blazers, how they can actually blaze it and get to the playoff spot, because we want to see an NBA without Portland Trail Blazers, especially having the likes of Damian Lillard and those guys putting up some big numbers on the night and not getting into it. But then let's start with some of the results from the night. Memphis Grizzlies and Toronto Raptors. It was always going to be about the Raptors are winning that one. And, of course, that's 108 and 99. The Washington Wizards and Oklahoma City Thunder. The Wizards are out of the contention already. We said they just came to complete the numbers, so no seedings for them. Oklahoma City Thunder 121 and 103 for the Thunder. There's another spectacular performance from them. They just started off where they stopped, especially after beating new teams like Lakers. Also, you have the Spurs and the Pelicans. New Orleans Pelicans also no more playoff spot for them. So Zion Williamson will have to wait for next season to see if he can take his team to the playoffs. Actually, played good game, but then that just wasn't enough. JJ Redick, as usual, 31 points he put up for New Orleans. Zion Williamson scored 25. Brandon Ingram had 17. Derek Favors 10 and 12. But then that wasn't enough because you have DeMar DeRozan who put up 27.4 San Antonio Spurs for them to be able to keep their playoff hopes alive with that win. For the 76ers and the Blazers, we'll talk more about that game much later. Damian Lillard, 51 points for them. And of course, that was really, awesome. The Rockets and the Sacramento Kings. Of course, we know Sacramento Kings are also out of the seedings and all that. 129 and 112. It ended all the game. You have the Houston Rockets and, of course, Orlando Magic and Boston Celtics. That game went to overtime. It was 119 and 122. Then you have the other one, the Brooklyn Nets and the LA Clippers. It was 129 and 120. Brooklyn Nets turning the Clippers. Now, the game I mentioned earlier, Austin, that's the 76ers.
One man, 51 points. And added 7 assists to lead his team to victory.
Interesting. And Joel Embiid was also injured on the 9th and all that. But at the end of the day, they just moved within half game of the 8th place Memphis Grizzlies. So these guys are trying everything possible to see if they can win it. Then for the Philadelphia 76ers, of course, I mean, it wasn't really too good. Josh Richardson scored a season best of 34 points.
Which is decent,
but
not good enough.
Not good enough. I mean, 6 3-pointers. Yeah. But then it just wasn't good enough. And of course, Embiid was 1 of 6 shooting, 4 rebounds before he went down with that ankle injury that he had. Not a good one. Carmelo Anthony, you may thought he got a recorded 20 points alongside 7 rebounds. So, a good one.
So that's it.
Performance on the night, yeah?
Yeah.
Quickly, just take a look at those guys who put up some big numbers. Damian Lillard, of course, the man. 51, 3, and 7. He had to do that. And another player was to pick for you this morning is Austin Rivers. While Houston Rockets, some of their players are down, although the beard is still there. But Austin Rivers was the guy who came up big shot, 41, 6, and 4 for the Houston Rockets. And meanwhile, he came off the bench to do that. Yeah. See? Kawhi Leonard, added. He was on the losing side on the night, but then he had 39.2 and 6 assists for him to be able to get into that one. So okay.
That's what it is. Our top performance over the night in the NBA. We'll continue to monitor action in that one. This is the place to be. We always follow the NBA and we love basketball right here. Let's go on this break. When we come back, we'll get you involved. We'll tell you how you can be part of the show. And of course, see if our guest is ready as we take a look at the potentials esports can offer in this COVID-19 era. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Sports This Morning. We're reaching you live from Channels TV Sports Center in Lagos, Nigeria. And it's still a beautiful world of sports. And I invite you to be part of the fun going down in our world of sports. Be part of the program this morning. Talk to us. What are you monitoring? I know Manchester United fans, they're looking forward to the Europa League in Nigeria because of Odioni Alo. They are beginning to, gather more support for United. So let's talk about that one this morning on Twitter, Channels_sports. We love Formula 1 right here. So we got into the show with speed, talking about the fantastic win right there for Max Verstappen, beating Mercedes and their fast cars, Lewis Hamilton and Bottas. If you love F1, also let's hear from you on Twitter, Channels_sports, Facebook channels, FS Sports, or send us an email post this morning at channelstv.com. Not just that, we'll also take a look at football in Nigeria. We'll also talk about what you want to talk about. So be part of the program. But right now, I want to talk about the possibilities, the potentials that we can get from esports. Because COVID-19 came and said, guys, pause. There's too much moving around. Just pause. Stay where you are. And so we had to go virtual. Everyone now goes online to do everything. People meet online. We have online parties. Can you beat that? That's the new normal. So let's take a look at the potentials of esports during the COVID-19 pandemic. Bukola Olopade is a respected sports administrator in Nigeria. He's in Abeokuta. And Bukola, I'm super excited to see you this morning. I will start by saying congratulations. You beat COVID-19.
We thank God for that. At least the reality of the violent nature of the virus is everywhere now. And when you think of all the death that has been recorded, we have every right to be grateful to God and to be thankful. So thank you, Austin. And good morning, viewers.
Okay, awesome. Let's get into it. Esports. Are there potentials in it for Nigeria in this COVID-19 era?
If you've noticed, the Honorable Minister for Sport has taken the lead in this stead, campaigning vigorously for the development of esports in Nigeria. To your question, the answer is yes. And I think that is why you see that the Honorable Minister and the Federal Ministry of Sport are strategically developing a template for esports to not just gain traction, but to use it as a veritable tool of empowerment to reach so many young people in Nigeria. The potentials are enormous. And this is why at Nigerian Sports Management, we have decided to also blaze the trail and partner with some of the known e-sport activists in this country who have been working for many years to ensure that e-sport gets the recognition it deserves and for the to be recognized for the empowerment that it has given to many young people quietly. So now we want to bring it out and get more young Nigerians involved. Austin, you'll be shocked to know that recently I read an article where the vice president said that sports has the potential of having a 3% contribution to the GDP of Nigeria. I was shocked to know that out of the 46 sectors mentioned, sport was not mentioned. And it is through these initiatives of esports and business in sports that you can get that GDP to recognize sport as a sector that contributes enormously to the economic development of this country. So yes, esports is something that we all must look at and encourage the growth.
Now, there's a championship that is currently going on, talking about the Nigerian Pro League Season 3, Champion Season 3, that is currently going on. I mean, some athletes really want to, some gamers or people who are involved in esports really want to participate in that. How can they get involved in this?
So the championship starts from September 18th and ends November 7th. It is an 8-week event that would see us do FIFA, PUBG, variant, and Fortnite. To get involved is very easy. Just go to our website, www.nilayosport.com, and register. I'm sure if you try today, it is already live, and people can start. Teams have already started registering for that event. But Cecilia, let me tell you why I'm excited about this event. It is an event that is going to have a $10,000 prize money system where players as young as 10 to up as old as 45 or 50, even Austin can play it if he wants to start, can win money every week, from that pool. It has, from what I've been told by the gaming activists, it has never happened in this country, and we are very glad to be blazing the trail. But more importantly, we want to see it empower so many young people because they've respected the new normal, the new protocol of staying at home and only going out when it is essential. And that was why we started this. Even during the COVID, Nilayo had organized 3-4 events where people won from 100,000 to 150,000 amongst other prize money.
Some of these gamers, are they having issues with the internet? And what will the organizers of this championship do to ensure that that can be taken care of so that these issues of internet will not be a problem?
That, in fact, Cecilia, you're actually asking some of the best questions. So what we've done is that aside from getting people to play from their homes, we are creating 3 hubs where gamers who do not have the wherewithal to play from home can just go and be part of this competition. There's the esports hub in Lagos. There's also the ICT hub in Abeokuta, and there's the ICT hub in Asaba. So those 3 hubs will be part. Just get involved. But you spoke about the internet challenges for gamers. It was something myself and Kumi, who we call the godfather of e-gaming, from our office, we're just discussing. We're talking about how we are talking to YouTube to be part of this event. And the first thing he said was, we must look for ways to get the telcos to reduce the cost of data so that people who cannot afford it can say, okay, at this reduced cost, we want to be part of this. Do you know what surprised me yesterday? I got to Abeokuta and I was told there was an e-gaming hub right in the ghetto of Itoko, somewhere called Itoko in Abeokuta. I had to go and check that out yesterday. And I was shocked to know that even at the grassroots level, we have thousands of young boys and girls who are actually gamers, but who have not had the opportunity to have the sophistication of playing at the higher level. Let me tell you this, PwC in a report in 2018 said that $180 million, I repeat, $180 million is spent on consoles and equipment by Nigerian gamers every year. This is a huge industry. It's a $14 billion industry globally that we can easily tap into in this country and create wealth for so many young people in the country who ordinarily are enjoying themselves in the confines and the comfort of their homes playing these games. And those who are also going out there within their neighborhoods, like I just mentioned, the Toko in Abeokuta, also playing these games. And this is why we have created the hubs. The three hubs would cater for those who do not have the wherewithal to play from home. We would have paid for everything. We'll create a beautiful gaming kiosk where people can go and just get involved.
Fantastic, fantastic story coming out of Itoko in Abeokuta. I just hope that Nigeria as a country, the sporting community, we will jump into esports and see ways that we can benefit from it. And of course, empower the youth. Let's bring the discussion back home now, Bukola, because you really do understand the violent nature of COVID-19. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, they've confirmed that there will be a resumption of non-contact sporting activities. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm a huge support. Huge support of that. I was initially not in support of opening sports, especially when I just came back from the hospital and I saw the nature of the virus. I thought there was need to create new protocols, new sporting protocols, for us to be able to open up sports. And I can see that globally now, those protocols are being created. And I'm very glad that the Honorable Minister and his team have been very responsible and proactive in ensuring that these protocols were sent to the Presidential Task Force for them to study before reaching the good decision of opening non-contact sports. I was just whispering to my Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Sheyi Johnson, that somewhere along the line, I also believe that there should be the opening of contact sports in the very nearest future. It has to happen because it's a new norm. COVID has come and it's something we have to live with, but we must also ensure we create the protocols that will ensure that we live responsibly within the confines of the healthy nature of our sports and just ensure that people start enjoying sports again. Austin, there's a need for a feel-good factor right now. This year has taken serious toll on the people all over the world, and people just need to start enjoying and being entertained across board. But to do that, we also need to be responsible and be responsive to the nature of this virus. And I think the experts are doing it. So I'm in support of the opening of non-contact sport. I'm particularly excited that athletics has been opened because we have also been planning at Nilayo Sports a virtual race for the February 2021 Access Man Lagos City Marathon. We've also been looking at various ways of ensuring that marathon happens in order for us to be considered as very responsible global players in the field of sports generally.
Okay, just talking about Lagos City Marathon, you just mentioned that you guys are thinking of going virtual in 2021.
Interesting.
Now, that's an interesting one. I don't know how it's going to be possible, but I trust you guys should be able to do a good job. But then, there's some stories from some quarters that, the money, the prize money for some of the runners, it's still
not paid.
Not paid.
That is very correct. We have paid the money for all Nigerian winners. We have even presented the car prize to the winners. The 13-year-old won the 10-kilometer for female. She's gone back to Jos with her car. And I always say this in a very primordial way. An Abeokuta new runner, fresh runner, won the male, and he's gone back to Abeokuta with his car. Yes, we are working on paying the international runners only because of two reasons. COVID did affect some of the things we usually would have done, like getting the results from the dope test, which we eventually got late April. And aside from that, every system was shut down. Banks were shut down. Our offices were shut down. And we wrote to every agent, every runner, and guess what? We wrote to the World Athletics. We've written twice now to the World Athletics to tell them that we are working on the dollar money to be paid. You must remember that we always midwife this money with the bank. The bank also gets clearance from the CBN to get the dollar money to pay the runners. So it is that process that we are waiting for. We are waiting for the CBN clearance so that we can get this money at the dollar rate of the CBN. Also remember that when we created a budget, we created a budget for the prize money at the CBN rates. Today, if we don't wait for the CBN to sort out this money for us, it means we'll be paying dollar money at 4 something at the black market rate, which you and I know would be killing. So not just our business, but even to the runners themselves. It simply means if we are struggling, we may just come back and say we reduce the prize money for next year. And we don't want that. Right now, we are one of the best 10 in the world in terms of prize money. And we have explained this to all runners and all winners. The good news is this. I spoke with the head of corporate comms and sponsorship of Access Bank a few days ago, and she has assured me that we'll definitely be paying all runners within the next couple of weeks, the international runners, and everybody will be happy. We have never, ever failed in our responsibility to pay runners who take part in our race. We may delay, but we'll definitely pay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bukola Olokpade, the versatile Bukola Olokpade. Thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up with him whenever we have the time again. So that's it. Let's go on this timeout. Yeah, when we come back, Rotimi Akindele will join us. We'll talk some more. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Welcome back, Sports This Morning on Channels Television. Remember, you can be part of the show. Talk to us on Twitter, Channels _sports. So much is going down in our world of sports, and I want to hear from you. I'll read your comments right here on the program before we go. Let's welcome Rotimi Akindele joins us now to talk about issues going down in our world of sports. Rotimi, good to have you on Sports This Morning.
Thank you, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good to have you around. I know you've been following the, we call it drama, like in Nigerian football. The first was PPG. Yeah, points per game. Was it point per game model that the NFF adopted through the LMC's recommendation? Then we heard of WPPG. And then Rivers United, some have found themselves on 3rd position on that WPPG model for the table that the LMC brought. You see how they try to just confuse everybody. But Rivers United said they are not taking that they are going to challenge that decision by the LMC and the NFF.
Well, it's an open stuff, so it's not out of place if they go on to challenge. But then again, when the PPG was adopted, I did the simple mathematics. Ordinarily, if you arrive at the same number of points,
that's right.
I mean, in the case of Eyimba and Rivers United, there were 2 other teams or more. I think, about 2 other teams down the table. I also had the same number of points after PPG was adopted. But because there is nothing at stake with those ones. So let's go over to the ones that had something to fight for. I told a colleague then, I said, from my own mathematical point, the team that played less games or lesser number of games and still arrived at that same number of points would automatically finish above the team that had played more games and arrive at the same number of points. I'm not confusing you, am I?
No, I know the part of the PPG. When you confuse me is when you get to the weighted PPG.
Now this is just me talking about the PPG. So when I did the table then, my own opinion, I said it was Plateau United, Eyimba, and Rivers United. That was my own conclusion on PPG. But then, as you rightly said, I think the LMC should just have kept it very basic and simple. The weighted PPG, I don't know. I think that's our own. I think we coined it. Yes, they put a lot of, how will I put it now, details on how it was adopted, on what they did, and all of that. Fair enough. I mean, they tried to convince us on what they did, but.
And that's the table right there.
Like I've been telling everybody, if you adopt PPG, then throw away every other framework or rules and all of that.
With that PPG, Rotimi, who was second on your own PPG table?
Eyimba.
Was Eyimba?
Because they played lesser number of games to arrive at that same point that Rivers United also found themselves after PPG.
After PPG.
But wait, did you use goals scored and all that good?
No, you can't. You see, it might sound a bit weird, but when you adopt points per game, you don't put head-to-head goals difference.
Yeah.
It's very PPG is from.
Yeah.
It was borrowed from other sports, basketball, and I think hockey at some point. So it's not like they bring in. It's because we have a tussle here.
Yeah, there's something at stake.
That's why some persons will come out and tell you, oh, let's use goals difference. Let's use head-to-head.
Yeah.
You can't even use head-to-head because both teams have only played once this season.
Okay, I think it's a whole lot of things that will need more time to really dwell on that, right? Maybe the ones that did it will have to come explain to so many people for us to understand it better. We need to go on a break now. We'll come back. We'll be talking about the Europa League. It's happening tonight. Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the games that will be played tonight in the Europa League. Of course, Manchester United, that's where all eyes will be on, especially right here from Nigeria. Of course, Odion is the main man, is the main catch there. Inter Milan and Bayer Leverkusen is also another game to look forward to. We know how how do I put it? The German teams know how to beat other teams. Silly. But then, we don't know if Bayer Leverkusen can beat Inter Milan. But Manchester United and Copenhagen, we heard us talking this morning. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been praising Antonio Martial, what he has brought into the game this season, especially the way he has actually woken up his physique, the way he has been playing and all that and everything. You think that's the guy that might give them something tonight?
Oh, well, if it's not broken, I don't think there's a need to fix it. Yeah. So if that's the main catch for Solskjaer and the United team, why not play him and let him get you the win? But then again, over the season, I think he's stayed a bit consistent, especially during the project restart. He's been very consistent. So he's got a good shot. Ighalo hasn't gotten enough game time for you to say he's the go-to guy to look forward to seeing tonight, or the marksman or the X factor for United. But it's expected that he's going to get a run in the game. And if you look at the game, it's not going to be as easy as most folks are saying, because, number one, it's a knockout game. There's no chance for, we'll correct it in the return leg. So Copenhagen, in their last game, did beat the team by 3 goals, as much as 3 goals to 0. So United struggled in the game against LASK. You can understand why. So depends on how hungry they want it. Solskjaer said he wants a trophy. So if they play like they want a trophy, then they should nick this one.
And they will get a trophy. So.
Look at reactions from both managers. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and also the coach of Copenhagen, Solbakken, talking ahead of this game. They have to play their best to be able to beat United. That's the thing. Put their house in order and then get to see if they can beat them. But I don't think that's happening tonight, because United are hungry for a trophy.
According to the coach. But then again, I'm actually looking forward to the Inter-Bayern game than the Man U Copenhagen game. I feel that would be my own opinion now. That should be more exciting.
Because you have Lukaku, Ashley Young, and the
because
English
I feel
players.
Inter Milan had picked form at the right time. And Conte, I mean, knowing who Conte is, this is another chance to get a trophy. He's qualified for the Champions League quarter right via the Serie A, but then again, make a statement. I mean, I've got, 3 games to win a trophy? Let me start by winning. So I think that will be exciting. Inter Bayer Leverkusen for me. And we'll see what happens. The United game, Copenhagen, is 50-50 as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think so. I think it's 80-20.
Come on. We don't do that at this stage of the competition. And it's a cup competition, so you never tell. Let's give a shout out to Nigeria's players, Cyril Dessers and Paul Onuachu. Beautiful start they had with Genk.
That's why they're there. They're meant to play and score goals. So, I mean, it was good to see Dessers. It was good to see Onuachu score a very good goal, because a friend of ours was describing the guns like, oh, fantastic chip over the goalkeeper and all that. I've not seen it. But then again, I feel they're strikers, they're attackers, so you're meant to score goals. And this is a good start. Continue, and then let's see, barring any sort of weird injuries and all of that, these guys, Desert will always score goals. I hope Onuachu's run will continue for a while. And then, who knows? At the end of the day, by the time they all come back to the national team, fact, that's the word. Bring the fun back home and let Nigerians enjoy what you're doing in Belgium.
You know, when I read that it was a beautiful goal, I went in search of it and I said, okay, not as fine as that one I scored against Egypt in Asaba.
I know, that one was
stunner of a goal.
That one was a one-off.
Yeah, that was just like, let me use it to plant my name. Let these guys just know me. I'll be back, you know.
Like Ogbeche?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
No, it can't be like Ogbeche. I think it's come on now.
I don't know about that. But but he has a
planted.
Come on, he has a point.
It was just disposable, man.
He planted, but what happened after that?
Austin also used the
Ogbeche's
word planted.
Ogbeche's didn't go in anyway.
Yeah, I think Paul Onacho, I think he's more like
He's good now.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, let's go to Twitter. I love it. So World of Sports is fun. Let's go to Twitter and find out what you guys are talking about before we get to the papers and then wrap the show. Bayo, we got your message. Thank you. Just trying to be clear about this PPG stuff that is confusing. I said, let's be clear about the PPG. They awarded points based on an average and ended on a tie for second. The next metric would be average goals scored per game. Add that up and you'd see where Rivers United have a point. Clarity, you said, solves it every time.
Where did he get that point?
Exactly. So if the NMC has said this is how it is going to be, if we do this, we have this, we're going to do this.
Sure.
You know, but we didn't get that. So Bayo, that's the problem.
Where he said the next thing.
We didn't get to hear of the next thing.
Is it reaching anywhere?
Yeah, exactly, Bayo.
Okay.
So we're here to clarify issues too. Feta Sawan, you got into that sports site that Bukola Olopade mentioned, and he's saying suspended. You remember he said that he's hoping that it would have gone live. So maybe it's not yet live. So when it goes live, you should try again. You might just see it. Okay, Cecilia?
Yeah, okay. I think we need to leave the studio now. No time for the papers today. All right, Rotimi, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Many thanks.
Thank you
so
so much, Rotimi, for being around.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Have a good day.
Okay, let's do this again tomorrow. Until then, I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember to keep talking sports. Bye for now.